How's it going, everyone? It's Professor Steffi. Welcome to Module 4. Really enjoyed our live conference last week and appreciate those who were able to join us. For those of you who weren't, I'll be uploading the link to the conference for you to view and answer some of the questions per the assignment. But want to move forward to Module 4 here, which is an overview of the value proposition. And so per the business model canvas, we know the one kind of box on there is the key propositions or the value proposition. And so what you'll see here is this value proposition canvas, which we've pulled up. And in your assignments this week, you'll watch a couple videos that'll break this down as well. But really what the value proposition canvas is broken down into two pieces. So you have the customer profile here. And this is really talking about the job that a customer wants done and the current pains that they're having with getting that job done. And the gains are what it looks like when that job is done effectively. And then on the other side of it, you have this value map, which is the pain relievers that your company is providing, the gain creators, as well as the products and services. And so the objective of the value proposition canvas is to make sure that there's alignment with what the customer is seeking and what product or service you're providing. And so, a couple questions that we ask ourselves: how are we creating value for the customers, and why do they want to use our products or services? And so again, what this value proposition canvas allows for us to do is identify how well of a fit or how well our product or service aligns with the customer's needs. And so if we think back to the Zipcar case that we covered last week, if we would look over here as to what the customer jobs were, they ultimately they wanted to get from one place to another. Mostly the customers were living in urban environments, and they had several pains. In some cases, there weren't eco-friendly options. In other cases, cars were expensive. They were tough to locate, etc. And when the customer envisioned, what they wanted an opportunity to easily locate transportation in these cars. They wanted them to be affordable. They wanted them to be kind of eco-friendly, and so then when we look at the product and the service that Zipcar provided, they were able to align themselves very well, as they provided affordable, eco-friendly cars that were located throughout cities. They were easy for people to return. There weren't additional costs being tacked on as it related to gas, et cetera, et cetera. And so that is an example of the value proposition canvas and a company finding alignment. So what I'm going to do is, and as we move forward here to some of the assignments this week, so from a reading standpoint, we are going to finish up the business model generation. We are going to start The Art of the Start, which is a great book by Guy Kiyosaki, very practical advice as it relates to starting a business. We're also going to dive into Lending Club, and that will be what you'll be commenting on this week on the discussion boards. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to post in the discussion boards which question each of your groups will answer. And, essentially we're going to talk about, whether they're competing in a blue ocean, what makes them innovative, etc. This week. So lastly, if we go back here, you'll see that the innovation is due. And so we've been talking about that for the last several weeks. And really what I want all of you to do is really focus on 5 things. So who are you, and what is the product or service that you're providing? Who is the target market? What's your value proposition? How are you going to generate revenue? And how does this create kind of common good for society or for your users? So I don't want you to overthink things too much. Don't dive too deep into costs and the financial models at this point. This is really just aimed at kind of getting on, in a deck, just a high level overview of the product or service that your team is thinking about providing. So the one thing that sometimes comes up, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. One thing that comes up oftentimes is from a financial standpoint, people say, well, Facebook or, Twitter or Instagram, their business models, they didn't charge anybody initially. It is always easier if you can find someone who has a willingness to pay for your product or service. It's a much better validation. With a lot of these, social network sites that have a network effect, meaning the more people that use them, the better the experience for the users. They tend to try to monetize on the back end once they get a critical mass of users with ads. But that's not ideal. And quite frankly, per some of the businesses that most of us or most of the groups are talking about, I don't think that's going to be relevant. But I did want to address that, yes, one business model or revenue generator can be through ads, but I would highly discourage kind of focusing on companies at the outset that's the only monetization model. So we'll kind of wrap it up with that. I hope everybody enjoys the readings. Look forward to interacting on the discussion boards again this week. Looking forward to looking at the innovations that you're going to submit. And as always, feel free to reach out with any questions that you may have. God bless. Have a great week.